darkness of space vanishes because of the presence of cosmic luminaries, star focuses, reflecting as well as emanating light. The universe is a hall of mirrors, where the light of the grand central sun pours out its supernal radiance into creative manifestation. But the world of men today upon the earth planet requires the manifestation of cosmic practicality. Men are in bondage, and the law requires deliverance. One of the great problems of this time, beloved ones, which has also in past times enslaved the consciousness of mankind individually and collectively, is the bondage of a sense of condemnation. The beautiful statement of the Nazarene Master uttered from the hillsides, "The Son of Man came not into the world to condemn the world," has been pondered often, but it should be explored in depth, that men may see clearly how that the weight of condemnation is an activity of the brothers of the shadow and of those individuals who ally themselves with the darkness of space rather than the light. The Son of Man is tantamount to the idea of light. The light of man came not into the world, came not into man to condemn man, but that through that light men might learn how to walk in the light, even as he, the eternal presence, is the great Father presence, source of light emanations. We then today, calling to your attention how that mankind are not abiding or dwelling in the aspect of their ultimate perfection, but are living in a state of relative imperfection and perfection, are not always able to fully appreciate the perfection that is active in their worlds, because their attention, blessed ones, flows to the outer realm of mortal condemnation. We have examined the records of many individuals and found that oftentimes those who are condemned the most have residing within them an enormous pool of virtue which goes unnoticed by mankind. Individuals do not act wisely when they feel compelled to utter judgments upon one another. It is a different activity, precious ones, when individuals simply observe as to what is acting at a given time, and when individuals utter that word of condemnation which is so final and total in its spirit, if not its activity. Let me then call to your attention that peace in the world of the individual can come when the individual understands the enormous degree of comfort that the presence and the Master's desire to confer upon those students upon the path who have far too long fallen beneath the weight of the condemnation of others together with the condemnation of themselves. For men set high standards for themselves, and they should. But when they fall short of the mark of their high standings, they seem inclined to condemn themselves for this failure. Let me hasten to disabuse your mind of this error. You cannot, by the weight of condemnation, correct one iota the condition, or even remove from your consciousness the sense of struggle that ensues. There is only one way, and that is the way of light and harmony, whereby you can actually bring about a solution to your problems and enfold yourself in that spirit of Christ illumination that will enable you to overcome the world. The way ye know, and the way is the way of light. It is the way of the illuminators and of the illumined to understand that God in the beginning, through the cosmic matrix of the image of himself, created for all time, that is, for time immemorial, a beautiful pattern of Christ's perfection intended to be the star of hope for every man. When men dabble in the psychism of their outer manifestation and enter into a feeling that it is somehow the forte of the individual to draw out of psychic experience the matrix of salvation, they do but err. For the matrix of salvation is in the name or vibratory action of the cosmic Christ of every man and in no other. This is the meaning of the statement, there is no other name given under heaven among men whereby men must be saved. Let it then become clear to all that the cosmic emissaries of light desire that condemnation shall fall with its weight and be broken as a false god, as a Moloch that men have enshrined in the name of God as their prerogative of discernment, when the reality of it all is in discerning first the body of Christ, which means the eternal substance of himself, which he broke for all and divided to each his portion, a fragment of scintillating light, possessing the quality of the wholeness of the Godhead within the smallest minute portion thereof. Let all understand then that if America as an ascended master nation is to take her place in the world, and the great light waves of cosmic intelligence which we focus here in the Tetons are to blaze forth the light of cosmic purpose into a dying world, a world where materialism and sensuality hold sway, with a view to changing those conditions, it must be because there is an activity on earth that is allied with our activity in heaven. There is enough activity on high to have long ago corrected all of the ills of mankind, if the law of man's lives would have allowed it. But you see, individuals possess free will, and so they become supposedly arbiters of their own destiny, and they select in consciousness those ideas which they will adhere to and accept as real, when the ideas that they accept as real are ideas of darkness and not of light. It cannot possibly avoid opaquing the consciousness and cloaking the mind in the unfortunate folds of darkness. Let us then shatter the matrices of base concepts. Let us decree together this day that the light of the eternal presence, the light of the ascended masters that long ago begun in America to pulsate forth light rays from coast to coast, from border to border, and to spill over the borders into the cup of world service, shall go on in God's name, that the pulsations of the ode to immortality shall be absorbed in the world community, that the world will see that not in dialectic materialism, nor a fragment of the whole life, which is merely a life episode, or the expression of one monadic person for a short or brief span, is not the divine plan, but only a glimpse, a flicker of the light intelligence of Almighty God shining on a piece of glass buried in the sand and protruding therefrom. We seek to raise man out of the density of form consciousness into the great spiritual realization of the Christ consciousness. But this is not a select gate whereby only those that elect of themselves may pass through, but it is a gate where all are destined to pass through who can accept it. Now, of course, this may seem enigmatic, but it is not actually intended so to be. We are trying to point out to you the difference between human will and the divine will. The divine will has always desired for each fragment of himself the complete return in victory back to his heart, the accomplishment of monadic manifestation, whereby the individual becomes a God in expression. It is man who, in the banality of his weakness, has chosen to express outwardly his choice and preference of materialism over spirituality, of a few moments of mortal existence in preference to his God design. This is the cause of all problems in the world community today. It is because men live for their own brief moment, and they love for their own brief moment. They are in sympathy with the brief moments of others, and they do not understand that what is required is cosmic empathy with the will of God, identification with God's will, that the pulsations of the cosmic light that come forth from every center that God has established as a focus of himself shall join together in one noble effort for the enlightenment of civilization and the leading of the children of God across the deserts of dialectic materialism, the famine of drowning individuality, into the realm of the promised land, where the palms will indeed wave to the manifestation of the Christ. Hosanna, glory to God on high. Blessed be he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Mission, the sense of cosmic mission, this born in each man as will to do God's will, surrender to the promise and determination to let God live, will give to all a bequest of immortality framed initially in the mind of God for all mankind. Thus none will be defrauded. None will be without hope. None will be disturbed. None will remain in darkness. Truly then, the cry of old uttered, "Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, nor suffer thine Holy One to see corruption," will produce in the flesh of each man, as a tabernacle of witness, the indwelling presence of cosmic purpose, as the Christ light of manifestation, whereby each son goes forth to conquer within the domain of himself all that needs to be conquered, because within him is the banner of the Christ. And it is the banner of the Christ that goes before and determines for each one that his effort shall not be in vain. Thus, to God belongs the glory, even as to God belongs the conception of the glory. For it was first his noble conception that sent forth the light waves into manifestation, that now periodically, as the renewal of hope, speak to each man that the day of his freedom must dawn. Yet the world seeks to know the majesty of heaven as cosmic purpose, and all religion portends to portray this purpose to the eyes of man, seeking to unveil some fragment of immortality, that hope that is born may lead man by faith to the charity of his being, which becomes attainment of cosmic purpose. Individualized. Let all understand then that man today, in his theology and his search for truth, has continually acted the role of the condemner, seeking to condemn those who could not accept the self-same doctrines or purposes, or understand each fragment of God's law in the self-same way. Now the hour has come when the students of this activity, as well as those other activities that desire to truly fulfill the cosmic will, must perceive that nothing must interfere with their manifestation of God as cosmic action, pouring through their flesh form some great light of hope to all they meet. Continually, mankind meet one another, and in a spirit of competitiveness, they emanate from their aura a search mechanism whereby they seek to determine what is acting in one another, that they may belittle or condemn that person as either worthy or unworthy of association with themselves in their human domain. And through this emanation of condemnation and this strange selection of individuals to become their friends, they do reject a portion of God each hour, and thus mankind, karmically speaking, will have much to redeem for their condemnation of their fellow man. The way of the Christ is to stand upon the hillside of this planet as one who serves to wrap the planet in the swaddling garment of light, that the planet and its evolutions may be shielded from the intrusions of criticism, condemnation, and judgment of the many expressions of life which seem at times to be so strange to so many, and in truth some of them are. Yet we must understand that until men know what is better, they will continue to express that which they think is best. And by this expression, they will fall short of the mark, but need not the weight of your condemnation in order to bring them their freedom. For their freedom comes not by condemnation, but by understanding and exhibition of the law of life, which is the law of love, pouring through your flesh form and consciousness as understanding which God is. If you could see the little minute cords, shall we call them, or rays of light, connecting each life stream upon the planetary body with his God source, with his divine source, and you could see that light ray pouring forth, and understand that God is working with each individual, you would have less inclination, precious ones, to actually criticize any part of life. You would then be in contact with the source of life, which is your immortal presence, not only individualized, but collectivized in the heart of the grand central sun. And you would understand that if God pours out his strength as ray to each part of life, then you can do no less. And entering into the heart of the grand galaxy and the central sun of cosmic purpose, you will join the Godhead in sending out the pulsations of light that enable each individual monad to receive the positive spark from the Godhead. This positive spark seeks to reconnect in a circular manner with yourself so that you become the negative pole of the great cosmic onrush of freedom. And when you understand this law, there circles through the majesty of your own consciousness the completing enablement which closes the chasm of this great cosmic circle for each part of life and enables them to feel the pulsations of cosmic reality either within or without. You become then a Christ manifestation and source of light, of hope to the world, and you have no broad condemnation or narrow condemnation for any part of life, but the continual expression of that which is real. For life is real, and life is eternal, and life is full of hope and faith, and life cuts the cords that bind and brings freedom to the world. If life is to do this from on high, it must also perform it through you. And if it perform it not through you as well as on high, the circle lies incomplete and broken. For you individually are in fact the missing linkage between the great outpouring of cosmic purpose and the fulfillment thereof. Won't you please, blessed ones, in the fullness of cosmic understanding, see the role of the individual as a keystone in the arch of triumph that will enable us to fulfill these cosmic purposes, not merely to amalgamate or unify religions outwardly, but to create the great bond that is God truth between hearts, whether or not they follow with you. For the Christ long ago in his great mission was spoken to by his disciples, saying, "These are also teaching in your name, and they are doing good works in your name, but they follow not with us." And the Master said, "He that is not against us is for us." And therefore let unity be understood as nobility of soul, the flashing of the beacon of wholeness out from the universal central sun of cosmic purpose. And let men understand that their role is important, that each life stream has its own specific activity to do that no one anywhere can ever replace. the uniqueness of the life mission ought to be revealed to every part of life, for it is this purposeless sense that is so frustrating to the youth today, who see no other purpose in life except the drama of experience in sensuality and the unfoldment of some manner of egoistic accomplishment whereby men will say they have placed their stone upon the heap. We are not concerned now with the mere piling up of stones as Mizpah. We are concerned now with men understanding that they are lively stones whose every act does react, universally speaking, in the world, connected with the evolutions of this planet and bringing about the consummation of destiny. If then destiny is born of each man's act, and the activity of this planet's destiny is the consummate reality of the total acts of man, together with the reactions of cosmic forces totally dedicated to his good, would it not be a most enlightening activity if we could spread abroad the notion of individual participation in the freedom of the planet to unfold its beautiful cosmic purpose that from the beginning has inspired the heart of every deva, builder of form, archangel, angel, and cosmic being, as well as the emissaries of heaven. All have been enamored by the divine plan, and it has, so to speak, set their hearts a-pounding, caused the flow of the infiring of God's hope to penetrate through their being and emanate into the universe. This then is the substance of which blessings are made. And when mankind see the role they have played in taking these blessings and pouring them out upon the earth as precious oil or ointment, desecrating the life force within them, and using them for no good purpose, they will understand why the world remains today in a darkened state, and the light of hope seems at times to have gone out. But when the weight of condemnation is removed from the world, and the power that is the greatest tool almost ever used by the dark forces understood, men will see that by light, the light of hope and the light of faith and the light of love, men can spread in the world community the power that is needed now, that now must go forth through every avenue with none closed off to the light, so that the light can fulfill its cosmic purposes with jet speed through each opening, which, like a gas burner, is a means whereby the very substance and essence can discharge itself as flaming purpose into the atmosphere that heats up all of life until it is activated to become mentally, spiritually, and outwardly as well as inwardly polarized to the purposes of the divine and the speedy fulfillment thereof. This is the grand purpose of our recent conclaves in the Grand Teton. It is our purpose because it is his purpose, and it is the fulfillment of solar destiny for this solar system. It is also galactic identification and universal purpose, cosmically ordained and intended to manifest in the incoming golden age for the freedom of every son of heaven that takes in the essence of life with the first breath and begins its cycle of identification, the going forth of the sun into the great halls of reality to find the way back home where God is and where all life is destined to return. Let us then, in view of the great losses that mankind can experience, determined together one and all to accept this purpose, to understand this purpose, that this purpose is that purpose which God foreknew in the beginning as the destiny of each individual monad, which he must make his own. I thank you. Precious ones of the light, I am come this night to remind you of the beauty of the fabric of the enveloping soul. I am come to let you know that the universe and its brilliance is captured within the mirror of your precious souls. You are recipients of the immortal light of Alpha and Omega, together with our love, the love that from far-off worlds flings forth to your consciousness a greater measure of infinite understanding, that you may feel the radiation of your cosmic home, the radiation of the sun of this system of worlds, and know that the measure of the linkage between the planetary chain and the cry of far-off worlds is captured within your hearts. A splinter portion of the immaculate whole is actually resident within thy soul. Understand then that as I am coming to you tonight, it is to envelop that soul with the radiance of your own beloved Vesta and myself. We feel that a very real part of ourselves is actually resident within your precious life streams, and we come then to activate that brilliant principle with the flame of our love in a renewed manner, charging the essence of God hope, God faith, and God charity into your being, that you may be the beneficiaries of our love tonight, and that love will be dispersed in the world order by consecration and understanding of the precious gift which you have received from on high. Many individuals do not appreciate or understand the meaning of individuality, of individualization. They do not recognize that they actually carry within themselves a part of far-off star systems. I then, Helios, from the sun, say unto you this night that fragments of far-off universes and of worlds long ago dying and reborn exist in the heart of the sun and compose also the very fabric of your souls. You are aware, precious ones, of how the substance of gold is actually as veins in the heart of the earth. Do you know that this substance, this precious metal, is actually an externalization of the canopy of our radiance in solidified form here below? This is why mankind, in their consciousness, are so enamored with this object of their affections. It is not simple greed, precious ones, that causes men to be captivated by the idea of wearing gold upon their person. It is because it has captured in its essence and in the very structure of the atomic fabric of the metal the very radiance that is in our heart, solidified and held. Let men then understand that the fire of gold, which enters the mind as illumination, is also a real part of ourselves and a part of the Christ mind. It is actually the bright threads that are woven through the gold and the white that composes the very garment of the high priest that enters into the heart of the Son and pleads for mankind that they too may be released from their sense of burdens and mundane responsibilities to let the ever-living presence of life within them take into itself the burdens of existence and the burdens of understanding. Do you know what this means, precious ones? It means that there is activated within you a principle of immortality, whereby Almighty God assumes his own responsibility, cosmic responsibility for the little individual spark of reality which men call their own. This condition cannot be brought about by man's continual adaptation to the things of the flesh and their constant search to manifest some form of outer world opulence as a means of impressing their fellow men with their own grandeur. This comes about best when individuals perceive that it is in ordered service that they actually climb the ladder of spiritual comprehension. When men and women tie themselves to the idea of ordered service, of ordering their lives by infinite decree, of filling the cup of their consciousness with the essence of the golden radiance of our heart's love, they will see that they have a very special responsibility to disseminate that love out into the world of form, to recreate that love wherever they move in the byways of life, so that the world, the entire planet, and all parts of the universe may have in consciousness a living, breathing awareness of the immanence, the omnipresence of ourselves in action. We live in you. You live in us. We live together in a compact of Christed intelligence. This intelligence is the intelligence of the light itself. That is why, when I came to you tonight, I clearly said, precious ones of the light. It is because you are of the light, of the parent sun, Alpha and Omega, in the grand galaxy, in the central sun system, which radiates through us, and whose servitors we joyously are. As I speak to you, I am calling now to the angels which stand in the sun to carry to you tonight the gift of our radiance in a greater measure than has been given to you before. Whether or not you shall be karmically entitled to retain this is not in my heart or mind at this moment. I simply desire to give to those who call themselves good, as well as those who think of themselves as not quite good enough, the same gift of my love, without questioning as to whether or not individuals are just or unjust. After all, precious ones, we do not gaze upon the misqualified substance in your worlds. We gaze upon the beauty of perfection that we have implanted there, and we pray that the borders of your perceptions shall become enlarged by the great outpouring of our love to you tonight, the magnification of that outpouring becoming dependent upon your acceptance of it. Your beloved Jesus and every member of the cosmic hierarchy have together radiated into the world our love and our light. We have been regarded often by the avatars in this system of worlds as Father, Mother, God. But whenever the radiance of a soul in holy prayer wends its way from the earth planet, piercing interstellar gloom and coming to our throne of love, we assure you that each petition is carefully acknowledged and is sent on to Alpha and Omega in accordance with cosmic law. Many individuals let the blessings of life stop right where they are. Someone speaks unto them and pays them a compliment, and they take that compliment into themselves. They have perhaps forgotten the approbation of the people for the speech of King Herod, and how that because he gave not God the glory, he was immediately eaten with worms. Let me call to your attention then that a cosmic law is involved in this particular decorum, whereby individuals always accepting praise from lower orders of individuals supposedly pass it on to the next highest order in the cosmic hierarchy, in order that it may return full circuit to the great central sun, thence to come forth and return back to the world of the praising one. This is by cosmic law, and though it may seem a simple manifestation, it signifies completion. You will find it in the system of numerology which mankind use today, the simple system of counting from 1 to 9. When you reach 9, you always add a 0 to 1, and thus signify the completion of that decimal cycle. Let me remind you then that through the return full circle of your praise and adoration, there is always signified completion and the beginning of a new cycle, whereby life is blessed through the power of divine magnification. Have you thought, precious ones, upon the idea of blessing those gifts which God has given to you individually per se? Let us take for an example the gift of music. Through use, individuals are able to stimulate the gift within themselves and thus enhance it. Passing it on back to the Godhead, they will find that it returns to the heart of the great central sun, there to return unto their precious selves with a full amplification of every one of the spiritual hierarchy who have ever handled it. How much this is preferred to the attitude of keeping it as a trophy within the state of your own being and holding it there as a mark of your own achievement. When men and women will learn the process of letting go of the idea of personal credit, they will find that the universe will expand rapidly, because the power of magnification lies within the cosmic principle of blessing and praising the deity, the manifestation of higher, which returns to lower, full cycle, the great buoyancy and joy of higher octaves of light. As I come to you tonight, the face of your beloved Vesta is waxing warm with the glow of her cosmic love, and she desires tonight to send a special release of that love in my worded instruction unto you, so that the joy of Vesta together with Helios will abound in your worlds and flood your worlds with the glory of the light of 1,000 suns, yea, of 10,000 suns, in limitless light poured out upon you with that dancing joy of the higher spheres, that music that moves through insular space to create a sense of unity between those spheres. These messages flashing forth and composing the symphonies of heaven, acting to weld together the entire cosmos as one body of harmonious hum, where the melody of life is heard in the great sound Amen, in the great sound of Om, in the sound and word home, in the concept of happy hearts, of unified beings, of those who recognize themselves as a part of a grand whole and feel no sense of desolation because they are a part, knowing that the part possesses the quality of entering into a state of admission whereby it no longer is just the separated part, but it becomes in effort and in effect the whole at the particular point in universal manifestation right where it functions. Do you see, precious ones, that your lives can be open doorways to the higher octaves of light, that your lives can be entrances into palaces of spiritual beauty and treasures for millions upon the planetary body, who, because you live, will also live in a higher state? The meaning of this is clear if you meditate upon it. God needs hands and feet upon the planet Earth, individuals who, recognizing the gift of free life and free will which they have and hold, will see that in their hearts there is a potential to mold other parts of life not yet quickened to the dawn of reality in self, so that those blessed life streams may come to a place where the radiance of our heart may also enter theirs and restore to them the boundaries of the hidden temple which is hidden to their eyes, because their eyes are captivated by mortal nonsense and the viciousness of human creation, which is actually behind the manifestation of that particular disease called pernicious anemia. I want to point out to you that when individuals are possessed with pernicious anemia, it shows that there is a condition functioning in their blood whereby they are not entering in to the full realization of the divine self, and are actually letting the energy stop and fail to manifest. That is the buoyancy of the central sun magnet. If those blessed individuals will only recognize this reality, they will find that the light of Helios will blaze through their flesh form, through their minds to illumine those minds, through their precious emotional bodies to calm and still the sea that seethes there, and into their etheric bodies to implant the fullest measure of our hope, whereby we do invoke life as God intended it in his first outpicturing of individuality. There was a time when the lords of form and the lords of mind had indeed not yet endowed man with mind and with form, yet man existed in the mind of God as an idea not yet born. We say to all of you then that at that moment man was clothed with God in that immortal form which he still retains at higher octaves, but which cannot manifest for him in the realm of individuality until he has through free will recognized the key of individuality made manifest as opportunity, which demands of life that each life stream shall wax hot in his pursuit of goals divine, and shall have that great victorious God determination within himself that he shall not slumber nor sleep, even as the God of Israel, of all that is real, does not slumber nor sleep, but expects those individualized monads whom he has made to take fullest advantage of the great cosmic opportunity that is given to them, to accept and not recede from the gift of infinite grace that causes them to esteem the fabric of their souls implanted within their own physical form. For the clay vessel, which you are outwardly, is but a repository for the infinite light of our sun. And the sun of the systems of worlds, which comes in dazzling brilliance through space, flashing forth its light of hope to mankind, revivifying the plant kingdom, providing impetus for all life streams upon earth to move, to think, to feel, and to be, is indeed the fullness of all that Alpha and Omega have created and beamed to this planetary system in order to provide enough energy, mind you, for all of the planetary system to function for well over 100 billion years. I tell you this because the area of time involved in the dispensation of the light of this sun system of worlds is actually almost infinite from the standpoint of contemporary man. It is almost forever as far as your individualized lives are concerned. But when you stop to apply this to a God-realized being, an ascended being who takes those infinite initiations on the higher planes, you will find that the solar system and the planetary chain will not of necessity, precious ones, long contain your great identities. For when you have made those steps up the cosmic ladder and entered into those planes of being, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and onward, I tell you that you will soon find yourselves ready to be called out into other galaxies and systems of worlds to serve in causes yet unknown by your consciousness, because life here upon earth is a preparatory schoolroom whereby the testings of the soul are very great, and individuals are given information and tests that will enable them to counsel a planetary body as well as a hemisphere. They are given instructions that will enable them to counsel a system of worlds as well as they might counsel a member of their own family today. I tell you, gracious ones, the buoyant purpose of the great sun of this system of worlds, of your own Helios and Vesta, is but an extension of beloved Alpha and Omega, and of the power of the sun behind the sun. He that we recognize as supreme in all worlds whatsoever, whom perhaps it would be best that we name as Maximus, Do you understand that I am here referring only to the word God is great? This means that the greatness of identity must be turned inside out and the macrocosmic world inverted into the perfect manifestation right within yourself, in order for you to begin within, in the microcosmic world of individuality, to turn it right side out, because it has been turned wrong side out. We here are not referring in any way to an ethical situation, but purely to a state of inversion of principle, where the life principle from the grand galaxy and system of worlds of the great central sun, that which represents the maximum of cosmic law in its concentration, is inverted to shine forth within you as a little ray of light capable of entering into the fullness of not only this solar system and systems of worlds, but of all universal consciousness whatsoever. And the strange thing about it all is that every individual upon the planetary body possesses the self-same potential that is given to us in our position as the God of this solar system. And therefore, this is why the universe itself possesses the power of infinite expansion, because we have determined in our heart that mankind shall be schooled to become capable of the greatest effort on behalf of the creativity of the maximum purpose of life everywhere. And this means that every individual is actually in a training program whereby they will be capable of fulfilling various offices. It is not our purpose then to hold any individual down in any way whatsoever. When mothers are sewing but the fringe on a garment for a loved one, it is an act of grace which in time may embroidery upon a whole planet some spiritual idea such as faith itself. And I want you to understand that relativity itself will provide you with a key that will eliminate this nonsense of size, whereby individuals say, I am as small as a grain of sand. How can I hope to become as large as the sun? I tell you that it is a requirement of the hour of man's initiation that he understand that the consciousness of a thimble can be expanded until it is the consciousness of an ocean. And this is one grand expansion of life energy through your blessed selves. Will you then today make a vow with me to your beloved Vesta in the heart of the great Son of this system of worlds, that you will cease and desist from the attitude of smallness insofar as yourselves are concerned, and will stop negating yourself, stop relegating yourself to a state of domination whereby outer conditions dominate your world? Will you recognize that within yourself is the power to become a God of a systems of worlds? I tell you, of course, that it is a grand leap, and it is somewhat difficult for men to think in terms, first of all, of a seed, and then of a mighty oak tree, or of a grain of sand, and then a mountain. But if you will have the faith that the great law requires, I assure you that your beloved Vesta will provide some nourishment in your consciousness this night, whereby you can accept that potential for yourselves, and I recommend it to you. For without it, you are always going to be bound by the laws of relativity, and you will be kept down by those laws. With this understanding tonight, which we give you at this harvest class, you will be able to release yourself from the bondage of smallness, of pitifulness, and of self-pity. You will recognize that you have no one to pity except those who cannot accept the faith that comes from the heart of God tonight, from the heart of the God and Goddess of a system of worlds, to a race of men on a small and tiny planet rolling through space, filled with the shadows of oppression, but with hearts that beat in hope. I say to you, one and all, light is expanding tonight through your flesh forms. Light is expanding tonight in your hearts. Light is expanding tonight in your beings. Light is expanding the chalice of your conceptions of self and your areas of service. light will expand still further, and the barriers of the sense of relativity that makes men to feel that by comparison to an orange they are as small as a pea will vanish as the light of the presence shows men that God wills it so, that expansion is providential, for the universe in the created form is similar to a grain of sand in the midst of all the known cosmic existence, with its infinite space in light years reaching out. And if you will compare a grain of sand to all the known universe in its light years, you will have some idea of what vast space lies around the known systems and the created realm. And you will see that there is never any need for you to place limitation on yourselves any longer. Nevertheless, in the name of perfect balance and common sense, we ask you to charge into your world that God-given perspective that will show you how to behave among your fellow men, how to act in perfect consonance with the divine will, not letting this idea become some kind of a salve to your ego, whereby you can do destructive things before your fellow men. Take this rather as a spiritual initiation given to you all, and to all men who can accept it, that will enable you to stop the sphere of limitation from acting in your worlds, and enable you to make the greatest leap of progress that beloved Vesta and myself could bestow upon any system of worlds anywhere. Won't you please accept it and understand that it is a great sphere of expansion that surrounds your beings now and provides you with that full measure of comprehension relative to the being that is within, the seed of light possessing the capacity of light to reach out, to explode, or to implode, as the case may be, so that you can everywhere spread the light of golden, full-orbed illumination as self expanding into self, that right where I am, ye may be also. Parusha. Om.
And the love of the ones who now come.
Unto the mighty waters I say, Hail! Unto the powers of the air I say, Hail! Unto the powers of the earth I say, Hail! Unto the powers of fire I say, Hail! Civilization is a magnificent concept based upon the song of the flame. What is the song of the flame? It is the rhythm of infinite intelligence flowing through the aura of individualized man. The pulsations of that intelligence continually releasing into the force field of individuality the self-same identical magnificent qualities that are pulsed out into the flame of the holy Christed ones of the great gods of this solar system and of Alpha and Omega in the heart of the great central sun. Civilization, a divine idea. Civil, referencing courtesy, identity, victory, intelligence, and love. Civil, I, referencing complete union with an integral whole. Remember the golden age of Pericles. Zation, action, the action attitude that produces courtesy, beauty, culture, and every divine quality, admired by men, but first designed by God. The design of this civilization at the present hour is in the hands of a few manipulators who are themselves molded by world thought. World thought, the emanation of man's transitory subservience to the volume of his effluvic tradition. Sensuality, lust, blackness, discouragement, hypnotic control, and every form of discordant vanguardism. This is not avant-garde and progressive. It is retrogressive. It is the machinations of the flesh that literally, as a car of juggernaut, chew up the bones and substance of man's identity and leave him a rotting thing upon the terrain. Someone said, "Why does Meru speak in this vein?" I do it to quicken in you the awareness that the hour is short and that civilization as a divine idea must become prevalent in the world order and be accepted by men, or the cycle will have bowed out and completion of this age, an age that has not been innocent, be fulfilled, so that we may once again prepare the way for another, hopefully, that will grasp the torch of cosmic illumination and understand when the opportunity is given that they must make good. Why? Because all depends upon it. Why? Because life depends upon it. Why? Because the little children depend upon it. Why do they depend upon it? Because when they come in, they come not in with a connecting intelligence with their former manifestations upon earth, save the few. And they come in wholly innocent of harm, but quickly learn in the marts and byways of life to manifest the same desultory concepts that they exhibited in a former identity. Oh, how beautiful is the passion of the God flame in its directing intelligence. What radiance it bestows upon concept. What radiance it bestows on identity. But men prefer density and identity to identity. Density is the acceptance of the heavy thought patterns of this age that center and fall in the individualized ego. Identity raises, pulsates, elevates, and ennobles man because it identifies with the Godhead. Here is the mind of wisdom. Here is the mind that sees the God flame. Here is the mind that hopes. And it is to hope that I dedicate my address. Ariel, 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 where art thou? Beautiful spirit of illumination, framing in the air the traditional images of heaven and bringing to pass the rolling up of the scroll of man's destructive leaven. For the whole creation of man's civilization has been permeated with the discordant jangle of myriad voices clamoring greedily for their own gain, and at the same time denying the whole intent of God by their everyday actions to their fellow men. Wisdom arise. Wisdom arise. Wisdom pulsate. Here is the mind that has wisdom, that understands the meaning of the mark of the beast, that in forehead thought and in hand action has produced naught but zero contribution to cosmic worth. The earth is the Lord's. The water is for purification. The air is for vivification, and the fire for consummation. Today, as in the age of St. Paul, mankind stand at the crossroads between their own latent barbarism and the divine potential that is available to all. Which will they choose? Which have they chosen? What is the way that leadeth to freedom, to the preservation of these ideals which are all of worth on heaven and earth? The preservation of these concepts is a lingering from golden ages long now past. And as the great goddess Meru presses close to my thought, it is to make you aware of the sluggishness in man's intent. Do you know that the sluggishness in man's intent holds back the penetration of the God flame? Do you know that man becomes causative in preventing the true civilization, the true city-state, the true divine man from actually materializing? How can he materialize when the divine ideal can find no opening through which to pass? The closures in consciousness admit no keys, and the few are not enough to balance the many. But we will, by cosmic intent, secure from the karmic board a dispensation that will implement the dispensation of 10,000 times 10,000. And if you will wholly will it, we will see you through to produce a miracle by a cosmic blowtorch that will enter the world to consume at a greater rate human dross and draw up the fine gold that now exists as hope and faith in the consciousness of the world. This is our promise because it is the part of holy wisdom. I say to you all, as I say to my God, what better use can we make of cosmic energy than to redeem these people who know not what they do, to illumine these people, to penetrate these people, to penetrate contemporary man, to show him the golden essence of spiritual, Christed, intelligent knowledge flowing in an ever unbroken stream of mighty cosmic power to direct into action the formation of such a pageant of beauty as never before has taken form upon this earthly body or in the mind and consciousness of contemporary man. We seek to bring here the divine frieze, the frescoes taken from the halls of the illumined, from planets and star systems of worlds far from you. We seek to bring by cosmic knowledge into manifestation upon this planet those inspirational manifestations which have enabled other civilizations to actually break through and find their own latent identity and break the awful patterns that have been so testing in the world of form. And I tell you, the results of this activity will be a refocalization in mortal consciousness of the angels of inspiration descending into the brains and beings of man to create in design that which is embodied in the word itself, Dei, God, sign, design, the sign of God on earth. The sign of God is found in the true culture. Gentility from childhood on that manifests the nobility of grace. Thank you. Pardon me. Excuse me. May I give you? Won't you come in? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, dear heart. No hypocrisy, no courtliness that exists as ritual form that finds not lodging in the flame of the heart. Grace and freedom to express, not by socialistic design or the restrictions of an order of state, but by a state of grace within that speaks of the eternal geometric orderly progression of cosmic purpose that squares the circle of man's identity and enables him to understand the meaning of I can. I can because I will it so. I can because I believe. I can because I see. I can because I need. I can because God loves me. I can because He feels that all the earth is now of worth, and in His light He seals all men and all that on the earth appears to eye within. He strips from it the awful pallor of a coat of skin that in its base conception strange conceives of mortal thought, to bring man down to lowest form, a form of sin He sought in banal ignorance. And by His abject state of mind, He cries to break the shroud, and in His heart He sees a glimpse of that which God Himself in light is proud. It is the victory sense, the sense that states, I am alive forevermore. I see that in my flesh God does appear to hold my goal in view and open wide the portals grand that now admit the few, swinging wide those pearly gates where all the light congeals until the world by mind of Christ extends the hand that heals. Oh, civilization, civilization in the name of Almighty God and cosmic intelligence pulsing through the ethers. When will you shake from your garments the dust of the centuries of historical meandering? You are far worse in this age than the children of Israel were in their grumbling pageant through the desert of Sinai. And you have had not one Moses but many, and you have had not one manifestation of immortal love but many, and you have seen a technocracy, a technology, and a technicality of cosmic grace, the instrumentation of holy manifestation of the law of truth, again and again revealed in myriad forms, and you have blinded your eyes and adored a sense of mortal discord in preference to the love of the Lord. Awake, awake, awake before it is too late, for the light upon the mountains now fades away in the dimness of a sunset, and the sunrise will not come to a new cycle ere the passing of the dark cycle to the age. I say to all then, because the great power of the infinite golden dawn of cosmic reality is before you, and because it is held within the intelligent Christ mind of manifestation, that you today dare not, unless you will turn into the dark, to ignore the passions that this harvest season state to you by divine reason. And you are the few who have the power to change the earth and all it is. Behold, The harvest fields, they are white already unto the harvest. And the Lord of Sabaoth waiteth that his angels, the divine reapers, shall come, and cutting down the grain, shall gather it into the barns of infinity. In the name of cosmic intelligence, I sound this one clear note of warning that through the years the ascended masters have adorned again and again, having sounded out clearly one certain note, that man does not have in this age contemporary man forever to make up their minds. They can stand in their sense of sin. They can stand there if they will and live unto themselves and die unto themselves, and through greed and concentration upon the passions of self-indulgence commit no act of divine grace. But they need not do it. And we today say to you, with this clear note of warning from the very center of the flame of golden illumination here at Lake Titicaca, in which we see the reflection of the whole world order, that unless contemporary man within 1 year shall make some great attempt to harness the forces of heaven, which we pledge to do, letting you know today that we will engage by the teeth of our intentions, the teeth of your intentions. Unless men shall heed this warning, the dark cycle shall begin. January 18th, 1969. I thank you. It seems superfluous for me to add unto the words of Meru, and I shall do no more than to say thank you. I want to thank him for his determinate effort to show us that our hopes must unify. To thank him for the knowledge that the dates speak to us of need, that the dates speak to us of Godspeed. We know that the masters have moved heaven and earth literally on behalf of mankind, and certainly each cycle must come full. Each cycle's completion is an opportunity to go forward or to revert. Men, by their own free will choices, have elected in some ages to go forward and in some ages to revert. May we, in God's name, this day and every day, elect to go forward. Thank you, God Meru. Sign of the heart, the head and the hand to you. May the peace of your presence abide with you wherever you are, wherever you go. May the glorious peace from your presence flow. Days of service and nights of rest, may the peace of your presence keep you blessed. The sign of the heart, the head and the hand to you. May the peace of your presence surround you now in the white light of God control. we shall see you at 8 for beloved God Helios' final address and our farewell in the close of the Harvest Festival of Illumination. May you enjoy in peace and love your meal this evening together, and may the fellowship be one of great constructivism, so that we will prepare the way and pave the way for the coming of the God of this solar system, the consort of beloved Vesta, the great and mighty God, under Alpha and Omega, Helios of the Sun. We thank you.